Hello everyone, this is Professor Robertsolis and welcome to this video lesson. What I'm going to do is to introduce Microsoft Word. Now this is Microsoft Word 2010 and you can see I have already opened up the application. So why don't I start off by typing some text. So the first thing I'll do is I'll type Citrus College and enter. That's at 1000 Foothill Boulevard. And I'll press enter. That's in Glendora, comma, space, CA for California, space, 91741. There we go. All right, so that's the address of the school. Let me press enter. And press enter again. I'll say, Dear Professor Robert Solis, comma, enter. I would love to take your CSIS 130 course, period. I need to know how to use Microsoft Office 2010, period. Please let me know when the class begins. Enter, thank you, comma, enter, enter, and let's say that this is Faye King. Get it? Faye King? All right, so that was a very simple document that we typed. Notice that as I continue typing, please let me know. I didn't have to press enter over here. The text automatically wrapped to the next line. That's called text wrapping. Right? So I can just simply type whatever it is that I want to type and go from there. I have a nice, good view of the document. That's because I'm zoomed in. So if I click out here, this minus symbol, I can zoom out or I can zoom in by clicking this plus symbol. I can also take this little button over here and scrub to the right or scrub to the left, and and zoom in or zoom out based on how comfortable I am with being able to see the text. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Let's say about 120. That's pretty good. Okay. How about line spacing? I don't like the fact that this Citrus College 1000 Foothill Boulevard, it seems to have like a double line spacing, or there's a line in between each of these. I don't like that. How do I fix that? Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to place my cursor over here in front of the 1000. I'm going to press backspace, and instead of hitting enter, I'm going to hit shift and then enter. And notice what happens. It's a different type of return. It's called a hard return, as the other one is called a soft return. So I'll simply hit the backspace over here, hit shift enter. Okay, that looks better. This is what I like. Citrus College 1000 Foothill Boulevard, Glendora, California, 91741, all single line spacing. Okay, I don't think I need all of this space over here, so I'll just place my cursor over here, say for example, press backspace once. Okay, that looks good. What if I want to change this, the address? So I'm going to double click on top of Citrus, hold down the mouse, select these three lines, and then I'm going to let go. Now when I do that, notice that this mini toolbar appears, right? So watch this. If I double click, the mini toolbar appears. If I double click, hold down, select a bunch of lines, again, the mini toolbar appears. And this does the same thing as this. It's just that it's a quick way of accessing some of the more popular tools that you need in creating a document. So I can bold, I can italicize, I can underline, I can change the font or the font size or the color of the font, so forth and so on. There's a bunch of things that I can change. Again, all these tools are also available over here. Now what's this? Well, this is the font group. And you'll see that several different groups appear within a tab. And you have several different tabs. Now the tabs display ribbons. So for example, when I click the Home tab, this is the Home tab ribbon. This is the Insert tab ribbon. And the Page Layout tab ribbon. So ribbons go from left to right. And I can select any one of these various tabs to see all of the tools within that tab for any given ribbon. And then again, within a ribbon you have different groups. So here's the clipboard group, here's the font group, here's the paragraph group, so forth and so on. Okay, so you probably already have the Home tab selected. Alright, so with this thing selected, let's see what happens if I select Citrus College, 1000 Foothill Boulevard, Glendora, California 91741. Again, that mini toolbar appears, or I could use the tools over here. So let's see what happens when I click bold, italic, underline. Okay, I like the bold and the italic, but I don't like the underline. So let me get rid of these. Notice that these are nothing more than switches. Switches that are either on or off. So I need to get rid of the underline. So once again, I'll double click, hold down on the second click, select these 3 lines. Now I'm going to let go of the mouse. I don't want underline. So I could either click it on the top of the font group, or I could click it right here. Okay, so there we go. So that takes care of getting rid of the underline. I like that. But I don't like the font or the font size. In fact, I don't like the font size for the entire document. So I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to select everything. Now, one way that I could select all of the text is to simply click in front of the word citrus, select everything by moving down the mouse, then I let go of the button. Okay, so that selects all the text. Another way to select all the text is to use a keyboard shortcut. If I press and hold down Control and then A, notice that all of the text is selected. So let me just write that down over here. So CTRL and the letter A is select all. Right, so you can select everything by using Control A. Alright, so let me get rid of that text right here because I just want to have this as my document. I'm going to hit Control A to select all of the text. And now I want to change the font type. It looks like Calibri is the name of the font, the default font for my Word documents, but I don't like that one. I think I want to use Arial. So if I scroll down and locate Arial, there it is. If I simply hover on top of the different fonts, you'll see what it looks like. There's a live preview over here. Now, Arial, Courier, and Times New Roman, those are the 3 most popular fonts. So you've seen Arial. So here's Courier New. That's kind of like typewriter text. And then I also have Times New Roman. So let me scroll down here a little bit. Here it is, Times New Roman. So pretty much all novels, textbooks, magazines, newspapers use one of those 3 fonts. You don't have to use one of those 3. You can use any of the fonts, and all you have to do is just simply hover on top of the font and it gives you a preview. I'm going to stick with Arial. Alright, very good. I like that. But I don't like the size. Now, this section over here refers to the font size, and this is listed in points, right? So basically, 72 points is the same thing as 1 inch. So that letter C over here, when I select the 72, is approximately 1 inch tall. Well, that's way too big. So let's just select 14 points. There we go. I like that as well. Now, I don't have to select this option over here. I can also use these buttons over here, so I can increase the size of the font, or I could decrease or shrink the font. And as I shrink it, notice I can see the numbers over here. Let me go ahead and click this back to 14. There we go. Now, if I wanted some strange size, for whatever reason, for example, here I see 12, I see 14, but what if I need 13? Well, then you can just simply type it. So over here, I'll type 13, press Enter. Now everything is 13 points. I think I'm going to go back to 14, so I'll just simply select this guy over here, and now it's set back to 14 points. All right, now let's talk about this button over here. This is the Strikethrough. Let me click it. So notice what happens. A line is through all of the text. That's called the Strikethrough. Sometimes you see this in historical documents where part of the text is a strike-through, which just simply gives you an opportunity to see what the text was, and now there's obviously going to be updates, and so you won't see the updated text won't have strike-through, but the older historical text might have a strike-through. Well, I'm going to take that feature off, so I'll click again. That removes the strike-through. How about these 2 buttons over here? Well, before I show you that, let me go ahead and type in some additional text. What if, for example, I wanted x squared? Well, that doesn't look like x squared. That looks like x2. Let me select just the number 2 by clicking over here, moving the mouse. Now I have the number 2 selected. And if I go over here and select this Superscript button, now notice that the text is reduced tremendously, and it's moved a little bit closer to the x. This is called Superscript. It kind of looks like x squared, doesn't it? Okay, so what happens if I click this guy over here? This is called Subscript. Subscript is the exact opposite. It reduces the size of the font, and then it moves it to the bottom. So if you need one of these options over here, then you can simply use either Subscript or Superscript. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to delete this text because that was just a little demonstration of how to use those two. All right, how about this guy over here? This allows you to select a highlighter tool. What if I wanted to highlight this first sentence? Well, I could select the sentence and then I could click on the highlighter. But what if I don't want the yellow highlighter? Well, let me select the sentence again. I can click this drop down arrow and change the color of the highlighter. Maybe I want this green, fluorescent green. So I select that, and now you can see that changes the highlighter. Hey, you know what? These highlighters, I don't like them at all for this particular document, so I want to undo what I've just done. Well, I can undo what I've just done by clicking this button over here. This is undo. In fact, all these are little shortcuts. These are little quick launch tools. And the way that you can add or subtract any of these tools is via this button over here, the Customize Quick Access Toolbar. So I can click over here and say, I don't want spelling and grammar. I don't want print preview. I don't want quick print. Okay, see how it's removing all these tools? I think these are the primary tools that you have. The ability to save, redo, or undo, I should say. And then you also have the opportunity to repeat what you've just done, right? Or redo. So if I want to undo, I can click this guy. Okay, so that's one way of undoing. And let's say I don't want this, so I can also hit Control-Z on my keyboard. So Control-Z, as you can see, is also undo. Let me put a couple of keyboard shortcuts for you. So Control-Z, that's called undo. Control-A, that's select all. Control V, it's paste. Control C, that's copy. Control X, that's cut. CTRL-S, that's save. All right, so you have a bunch of options here when it comes to keyboard shortcuts. These are just some of the more popular ones. All right, let me undo, or let me actually just delete all those here. And let's go back to our document. Okay, so I've demonstrated how to use this. What about this guy over here? This changes the font color. So how about this? I'm going to double click on top of Citrus, select the entire address. I want this to have a blue font color. Well, I can either use the mini toolbar that appears over here, or I could use this guy over here. They're both the same thing. If I click this drop down arrow, I have all kinds of options, and as I hover on top of them, do you see the live preview over here? It gives you a live preview of what that text would look like. Let's say that I select this one, dark blue text 2. So I select it, click it, and there you go. Now you just changed the font color. All right. Now, what about these, or what about this button right here? This one says change case. Well, what I can do is I can change everything to uppercase, or change everything to lowercase, or I could change it so that it's capitalized each word. Right? So let me just simply undo, undo, undo one more time to go back to my original text. So this just simply gives you case options that you can change. Hey, what about this? What if I don't want any of these formatting changes? I want to go back to the text that I started off with. Well, again, I'll select the entire address, and that's what this button does. It says clear formatting. So if I click this, now you can see I'm right back to the original text that I started off with, which was Calibri 11 point. No bold, italic, underline, no font color change, just simply a